Hello everyone, this is Mike Mullis for the original Next Level Gaming, and welcome to another game review. Today we're bringing you Adventures of Pip by the development studio Tic Toc Games. This is out for the PS4, Xbox One, Wii U, and Steam. So in a game world filled with two-dimensional platformers built on the Unity engine, you have to do something different. You have to have a character that pulls you in. You have to have gameplay that keeps you engrossed. And Adventures of Pip has that. It's got it almost all the way through the game. It's got great level design. It's got a character that isn't just your standard run, punch, jump, shoot kind of guy. And it's got a cute little story to go along with it. This is one of the better games out there as far as the indie scene and the 2D platformers. And it shows just how good the development studio is. Now, while Tic Toc Games have only been around since 2011, it's headed by two industry veterans that have had more than 16 years of experience making games. And their entire team is made up of seasoned vets and people that have been around for a while. So when you see a game like this, and you see the design, and you see the levels, you see how well the game is put together, you understand why. Alright, so let's talk about the game itself. You are Pip, thus the name of the game, Adventures of Pip. You are a one-pixel hero, born of the 1-bit days. Now, Queen Derezia has been running around your world, and she's been stealing all your villagers, and she's been turning the entire world into low-res characters. Well, that includes you, little Pip. So, you are the one person who everybody believes can save this world from Queen Derezia. Oh, and there's something else. She's taken the princess. She's turned the king and the queen into low-res mush, and she's taken the princess off to her castle. So, not only do you have to save the world, you have to save the princess too. Sound familiar? Well, it's a good thing for you that the Ghost Knight Sir Elwyn also believes that you can save the world and the princess. So he bestows upon you the power to evolve and to actually up-res yourself into an 8-bit or even 16-bit character. By absorbing the pixels of your enemies, you can wield great power. You can turn into that 8-bit boy who can jump and punch, and you can turn into a 16-bit man. Well, bigger kid, let's call it, who can wield a sword and who can push around heavy blocks. And actually, it's much, much more than that. This is what I liked about the game more than anything else. Each character that you have, whether you evolve or devolve into your 1-pixel character, your 8-bit character, or your 16-bit character, they all have different abilities they can do throughout the world. Now, I keep saying 16-bit, but we honestly don't know how up-resed Pip gets when he's at his full resolution. I'm just using 16-bit just for a placeholder. But, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. He does look like he comes out of a Genesis game fully up-resed. So as you can see, each form that Pip takes does give him special abilities within the levels. So if you're in water, for example, your 1-bit pixel self floats, while your 8-bit pixel self can swim, and your 16-bit pixel self, or whatever the resolution is, sinks to the bottom. And each one of those can be used, for example, in water, to manipulate yourself around the level, to get to high up places, to get to places where you might not be able to with just one character. And many of the more advanced levels have you switching back and forth between your forms almost in the same screen, and a lot of times in mid-air. The gameplay in Adventures of Pip is predicated off of the level design, which is also really solid here. Each world gives a different atmosphere, different challenges, different elements to get by, and it forces you to not only think your way through a lot of the levels, but it does test your reflexes and your hand-eye coordination as you have to try to switch between Pip's various forms. So as I mentioned before, you collect pixels from your downed enemies. You can not only do that, but you can find them in treasure chests hidden around each level, much like the villagers are hidden. They'll be in compartments and in places in the level that aren't necessarily right in front of you. That's the part that makes you think. You have to find where some of this stuff is. So the pixel collection actually does mean something too. There's a slight RPG element to the game, as you can go back to your kingdom town and buy upgrades for your character. You can buy weapon upgrades, you can buy detectors to see where the villagers are, to see where treasure is, and you can even buy life to get extra hearts so that you can continue on the levels with less chance of dying. Okay, so the kingdom that Pip is in consists of 5 worlds. Each of those 5 worlds has 8 levels. So you have to make your way through 40 levels in order to get to Queen Derezia's castle and ultimately defeat her and get your kingdom back for the king and queen. Along the way, you're going to find villagers that are hidden from her that you have to find in each level. That gives you a little incentive for the level besides just beating it. And there's an achievement for it, and a trophy, if you can find all of the villagers for specific levels and all the villagers for the entire game. And you'll find that some of the villagers are de-rezzed, like you were, and some of them are fully rezzed. It doesn't mean anything, it's just how it looks. Now I do want to point out that this game is challenging, and sometimes frustratingly hard. There were a couple times when I had to turn the game off, kind of mini rage quit a little bit, but I keep coming back to it because it's really fun. You gotta be patient, and you have to think through each level. You're going to die a lot. This is kind of like in that vein of Ori and the Blind Forest, where some of it's trial and error for you. But once you get the hang of all of what he can do in your various forms, then it's a lot easier. Now I will warn you that at the end of each world is a boss battle. It's level 8 of each world. Those boss battles can be very difficult, and they don't really tell you a whole lot about the boss, so you kind of have to guess how to beat him. That got a little frustrating for me. Once I figured it out, I was fine, but getting up to that point, there were some bosses where I just went, what am I even supposed to do? And then I figured it out. Graphically, there's nothing mind-blowing or game-changing in here. It's a standard 2-dimensional platformer. It's not a lot that you haven't seen before. Like I said, this is more about level design than aesthetics, which is fine, but it's very solid. However, the soundtrack is absolutely gorgeous. By Jake Kaufman, who's done games like Shovel Knight and Blood Rain, Betrayal, and things like that, he put together an orchestra soundtrack that harkens back for me to the old Sega CD games of RPGs, and it almost immediately sucked me into the game, right from the title screen, to be honest with you. Okay, so what's the verdict on Adventures of Pip? Is it a game that I would recommend that you try out and play? The answer is absolutely yes. It's one of those games for me that I kept going, alright, one more level before I stop. Alright, let me get this last level before I stop for the night. And that's what makes this game great. It's fun, and it will keep you engaged throughout the whole game. So this is a game I would definitely recommend for you. Alright, that's going to wrap up another Next Level Gaming review. Thanks for stopping by. If you like what you see, click the like button. Leave us a comment if you liked the review, didn't like the review. If you liked the game, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and catch us on Twitter at OG_NL Gaming and on Twitch at OG_NL Gaming. For the Next Level Gaming, this is Mike Mullis saying, play on, gamers.